PLMedWeightLoss.com.
Good morning and welcome to the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Frank Cusimano with Jill Farmer. Conor McCarthy is here. Sarah Fensky will be here at 10:35, the executive editor of St. Louis Magazine. And our weekly special, brought to you by our good friends at Kuna, we are bringing in Chef Bogdan Dania, the executive chef for the new MAC Clayton location at Pierre Laclede Center. You know, a lot of people wondered, why did the MAC need a location at
Yeah, I was
Clayton?
going to ask you about that because I knew you'd know.
Well, I'm not 100% certain because I know the one downtown does well. The one in West County is rocking. And I think that to do it well in Clayton, they needed a hook. And they did. They brought in this incredible chef, and that's why the membership in Clayton is just skyrocketing.
Well, I've heard that there's for the last couple of years, people have really done a good push, and people are doing well. I guess a percentage of people who can afford places like being a member to MAC because they've had waiting lists, I think.
Yeah.
So it's certainly venerable tradition, and many people in St. Louis can remember some of the milestone events in their lives: weddings, banquets, all kinds of things happening at
Halls
MAC.
of Fame, they have all that there too.
Exactly. So continuing that tradition. And speaking of traditions, did you read this morning that Uncle Bill's is about to reopen again?
Yeah, that is really cool.
It is really cool. And of course, the Garcias are doing such great things in that section of South St. Louis down on Kings Highway as well. Apparently, they just did the remodel they've done is really holds on to all the great, cool, old nature of what was there, but updating it in a way that's going to make it feel fresh. And they're the people behind the Golden Hoosier and Bud's Pizza down in that part, that neck of the woods. We've had Bud's Pizza on here. It was phenomenal.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like trying to get into that pancake house like the first month? It was so popular before, the comeback and how beautiful it's going to look. Man,
yeah,
of
awesome. Course, yeah, and we need to say the one out on Manchester, slightly different ownership, has still been rocking and rolling and feeding people, all at many hours of the day all along. But that one on Kings Highway certainly has a lot of memories for a lot of people. So I'm very glad to see that it's going to be around for a next generation to enjoy some delicious food as well. I hope they keep a lot of the recipes the same too.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
As you and I being pancake connoisseurs, you don't want it to change too much.
So I think Chris's is the best breakfast place in St. Louis, but you think their pancakes are the absolute best.
I do.
Yeah, I'm with you. The original Pancake House is pretty serious business. Really expensive, but man, you get an orange juice there and some pancakes. That's good stuff.
It is. They're buckwheat pancakes. I know people think, well, I don't need to have healthy and pancake in the same sentence, but it's not even about that. They're just really tasty and hearty and delicious.
Great. How about this situation? Have you ever had one where, like you've had many bosses in your life, and and I'm not saying you're sucking up, but you're always polite, and always in the back of your mind, you're trying to impress that person.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're a people pleaser like the two of us sitting across from each other here.
And then all of a sudden, you find out that person's going to leave, and you think to yourself, boy, that was a waste of sucking up for like years.
Which in the TV business, by the way, it's always a waste because they're always leaving.
Yeah. So we just found out yesterday, Tim Garrity, this news director we've had for 5 months, terrific guy, veteran in the business. I'd walk by him. Hey, Tim, you look great. You've been working out. And that's a good-looking tie. All this crap.
Good job. Well done.
Yeah. Tim, thanks so much. And then find out he's leaving. It's just like now I think I walked by him yesterday. Hey. It's just, boy, it changes your whole like.
Yeah, you got to break. You have to break somebody else in now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Have them understand how important sports is to the operation, and make sure you get your resources that you need.
And Corey, Corey Miller, who's been with us for, I guess, 8 years now, he said this will be his 6th new news director. Can you imagine? This is like a George Steinbrenner Yankee run.
Right. Yeah. I haven't. And, my boss before I came back to media and joined KTRS last year, my boss for the last 12 years was a real you-know-what, because it's been me.
Oh.
So
that's always the best boss. My brother would always say, you know how lucky you are, because I got 60 knuckleheads I got to be responsible for chemos every day. You don't have to do anything. I go, I'd like to be my own boss. I don't have to suck up to anybody and be nice all the time.
Have you heard the inner critic in your own head? I mean, you can be pretty hard. We can be pretty hard on ourselves, and it's good to have a boss here.
That's a question for the text line. Would you rather be the boss or the employee where you don't have as many headaches, but you always have to be?
Yeah, but in the news business particularly, I have never seen, it's so mercurial, and your boss, the news director can really make or break your lived work experience every single day, because they can come in with some crazy ideas that increase your workload by exponentially.
Yes. And they all think they can reinvent the wheel and their ways. And
yeah, so having Art, which was a known quantity and a good leader and somebody who understood the market there for a while, there was something to be said for that, I would assume.
Like Art, like Steve Savard was in the meeting yesterday when Tim Garrett, who's a really good guy, announced it. And Savard had his headphones on because he's working on one of his good stories. And then he took them off. He goes, wait a minute, is he stepping down? He just hired me. Oh, my goodness. What a business. So would you rather be the boss or the employee? I think I'd lean towards the boss. Maybe it's because I've never been a boss. So. All right, let's take a short time out. We'll have the opening dialogue when we come back.
Are you planning a home remodel or a spring getaway for your family? Turn your vision into reality with a home equity line of credit from Royal Banks of Missouri. Whether you're looking to elevate your space or create new travel memories, Royal Banks of Missouri is here to help you make the most of your home's value and provide flexibility to fund your big plans. Call 314-212-1500 or visit royalbanksofmo.com for more information. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Spring is in the air, my favorite time of the year. I'm buying and selling, of course, cars and motorcycles daily. I like to buy a few cars a day at this time of year, and I like to buy them directly from the owner. We carry only hand-selected vehicles, and I like to meet the people they come from. It's as much a people business as it is a car business. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, I'll even come to your house to purchase your vehicle, especially if you have more than one to sell or even an entire collection. We're always on the hunt for super clean, rare, and unique vehicles. I'll even buy everyday cars if they have low miles and are exceptionally clean. Hop on my site, mastercarsinc.com, and submit what you've got to sell. We buy, sell, and trade every single day.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit mastercarsinc.com to get more details. That's mastercarsinc.com.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Farmers and ranchers, when it's time to buy or sell ag equipment, think Purple Wave Auction. We're your go-to online marketplace for tractors, combines, sprayers, and more. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Experience the Purple Wave difference. Nationwide reach with a local touch. Purple Wave Auction. Whether you're expanding your operation or streamlining your fleet, we've got you covered. Visit purplewave.com today. Fuel your farm with Purple Wave Auction.
Attention St. Louis sports enthusiasts. On March 24th, the Blues and Cardinals join forces for a night of STL sports fandom. It's Cardinals Night. Immerse yourself in the ultimate celebration of our city's passion for sports when the Blues take on the Washington Capitals and Enterprise Center. Theme night buyers will take home an exclusive Blues and Cardinals co-branded quarter zip, perfect for showing your support for both teams. Get your tickets now at stlouisblues.com/promotions.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS.
Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Okay, here we go with thought one, and I'm getting my one sports thought out early, so Agnes, you can turn to the view right now. This is about feelings, though. It's not about hardcore sports. So perhaps nowhere in life do you get the relationships like you have in sports. I guess the military. I mean, you sweat, you fight, you cry, you laugh, and you do it all with every amount of passion in your body for 5 and 6 months at a time, and maybe it lasts for 3 or 4 years. I asked Josh Schertz, the SLU coach, on what it's going to be like to see SLU's name mentioned in the NCAA tournament on Sunday at 5 o'clock. He's been a head coach for 18 years. I thought he'd be talking about, this is all I've ever worked for my whole life. He didn't talk about himself. He said, I'm going to be most happy for Robbie Avila. I said it in the summer. I want this to happen for Robbie, who has sacrificed so much to be here and turned down a lot more money to be here and turned down a lot of shots so he could be a better team and turned down minutes so we could be a better team. I want this for Robbie Avila. And that is why I love sports. And, I think that yesterday, 3 hours later, we're shooting a story that will air at 10 o'clock tonight. And it's on the Billiken team that was so gifted shooting-wise, the next best Billiken shooting team of all time, because I brought Erwin Claggett and Scott Highmark together in a gym.
Oh, cool.
We got 5 cameras to shoot this. 5 cameras by Randy Schwenker, outstanding photographer. So SLU's greatest 2 shooters ever. And I wanted their take on what they're seeing with this great shooting team. And I just stopped and paused as Claggett walked out of the locker room and he sees Scott and the way they greeted each other. It was so beautiful. I'm a sports romantic, I admit it. Not so much common stuff in their background, but the friendship and the bond and, the way they hugged each other. And we had actually a wireless mic on Scott so I could hear what they were saying. That's what makes sports great, the bond and the relationship. It just kind of moved me yesterday seeing those 2 greats together, and they hadn't seen each other for a long time.
Can't wait to see that story tonight. Scott really impressed me when he was in for our Success St. Louis segment. Just very humble, done so much in his life, but with such great humility and just his passion for SLU basketball, his own experience. He's just very vulnerable and honest about the ways that sports served him and the ways that it didn't serve him. I thought he's really good. I recommend people go back and listen on the KTRS
got a book
website.
About to come out too, by the way.
Yeah. We're going to have him back on to talk more about that later. Missouri lawmakers today debating a major shakeup in how the state funds our public colleges and universities. Proposal is already drawing bipartisan skepticism. People on both sides of the aisles are questioning this. House Budget Chairman Dirk Deaton wants to change the formula so that state funding follows the number of full-time students at each campus instead of relying on heavily on historical funding levels. In other words, the more students you have at the university, the more money you'll get. His argument, simple: the money follows the student. That shift, however, would dramatically redistribute about $275 million across our higher education system in Missouri, creating some big winners and some big losers. University of Missouri system, Missouri State would see some funding increases over the proposal, but Truman State could lose more than half of its current funding. Smaller schools like Harris Stowe here in St. Louis, Lincoln University, seeing cuts of nearly 40%, which would be devastating. I mean, Harris Stowe could not handle a cut of percent. Lawmakers from both parties say that kind of sudden change, devastating for campuses already built programs and facilities based on their current funding. Plan still under debate as legislators continue working on the Missouri state budget. It highlights a bigger question. Should state money reward enrollment numbers alone, or should it protect some of these smaller institutions that serve unique missions within our state? Love to hear you on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. By the way, Dudley McCarter, local attorney on the state's coordinating boards for higher education. He has some very captivating and biting views on how our state funds higher education. He's not a happy camper that we're fourth from the bottom in the nation in terms of what we do for funding in higher education. And he has some intriguing things to say. Looking forward to having his perspective on this a little bit later in the week.
Well, let me ask you, do you think that this could affect like some of those schools possibly like going down?
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, we're looking at a time nationwide where some are predicting as many as 20% of our higher our institutions of higher learning, particularly the smaller ones, are going to go away. And some people say that's just how it goes. That's the nature of the beast, and we need changes like that. But if they certainly do provide some pretty great environments for people to learn in the smaller institutions as well. So I think we need to at least have some hard conversations before.
What was Dirk's last name?
He is Dirk. I got to look it up again. Deaton.
Okay, not Dirk
House
Diggler from Boogie Nights.
Not
okay.
Dirk. I don't know that he is any longer with us. So, yeah, Dirk Deaton.
All right, thought two. I've always thought the best thing you can do to become a better writer is simply to read as much as you can. And the best thing you can do for your kids to try to develop a love of reading. And what's better than getting lost in a book and having that book that you have in the back of your mind that you're anticipating getting back to, you just can't get enough of. There's nothing better. That's why this is kind of depressing. According to the Pew Research, roughly a quarter of American adults say they haven't read a book in a whole year.
What?
Or even a part of a book in the past year, whether it's reading, electronic, or audio. So who are these non-book readers? And I don't want to shame you. I mean, I make 3 bad decisions before breakfast every day, but how about this? Adults with high school diplomas or less are far more likely than those with a bachelor's or advanced degree to report not reading a book in any format. So listen closely. Who hasn't read a book in the last 12 months? Men, 26%, women at 21%. Ages 18 to 49, 19% haven't read a book. 50 and above, 28% haven't read a book. That's how I would think when you're older, that's when you have more time to read. How about financially? 31% of people making less than $30,000 have not read a book in the last year. And 15% of people who make $75,000 or more have not read a book. And then how about where you live? Jill, you grew up in a rural background, right? Mm-hmm. Would you consider it rural?
Well, yeah, smaller than or fewer than 10,000 people living in the county seat. So, yeah, I think that counts.
So rural people top the charts. 29% have not read a book in the last 12 months. I don't know. It's kind of depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's one of the things that those early childhood advocates have been saying for a long time is that we know that that kids that have more trouble learning and don't get early intervention so that they can catch up on their reading levels will be at a lower socioeconomic level for the rest of their life. So there's already some correlation versus understanding and mastering reading as a skill as an early learner and how it impacts your life later on. So it doesn't surprise me that people who are earning less are reading less because they may never have had the chance to catch up with everybody else in the first place and make reading be something that they're interested in. So if you watch cable news or scroll social media or listen to politicians long enough, you, like me, probably think America is hopelessly divided and angry. So I was fascinated by this article by Axios this morning, a column written by Jim Vandehei and Mike Allen. They give us a picture of the country that says that it's actually badly distorted when we say we're wildly divided. Listen to what they had to say. In their piece today, these two very respected journalists make a case that most Americans aren't posting outrage online or screaming about politics. They're instead working, raising kids, coaching Little League, volunteering, mowing a neighbor's lawn. In other words, they're just living their lives. And the numbers do seem to back it up. Americans donated $600 billion to charity last year. More than 75,000 people volunteer annually. Gallup says 3/4 of Americans give money to nonprofits or religious groups, and more than 130 million help neighbors informally. Meanwhile, the loudest platforms that sometimes shape our perception of the country reach far fewer people than we think. Fewer than 1 in 5 Americans are on X these days, and the numbers continue to drop. During most primetime hours right now, less than 1% of the country is watching any form of cable news. That includes Fox News, News Nation, MSNBC, and CNN combined.
Wait, repeat that stat one more time.
Right now, during primetime hours, less than 1% of the country is watching cable news, and that includes Fox News, News Nation, MSNBC, and CNN combined.
Wow.
So fewer people than ever are watching the conflict entrepreneurs shouting about why the other side is evil.
Make all the money then if nobody's watching.
Exactly. The takeaway. Well, because a lot of it comes from, again, the clickbait and the device, and later on you're just listening to little snippets of it. So if the screen makes the country feel broken to you, Axios says, try this. Close your screen, walk outside, talk to your neighbors. Chances are the real America you see when you get off of your screens is a lot kinder than the one that's online.
That's really illuminating. With that said, and if we tie it back into reading, do you consider if you're on your phone and you're reading columns, do you consider that it's not a book, but do you consider that meaningful?
Well, for
reading?
me, I consider it work reading, and then so I have work reading and pleasure reading. So if I'm reading something,
there is a big difference.
If I'm reading news stuff or I'm reading psychology stuff, self-help stuff, that's work reading, and then I love getting lost in a novel or in a biography or something that's pleasure reading, and I kind of feel like I need both to feel complete.
Yeah, well said. All right. Monique said, don't bring this up. She says, don't let anybody know you're watching this trash. But I have watched 2 episodes, DTF St. Louis, the Jason Bateman series on HBO. I got to tell you, it's a weird vibe. It really is strange. And they really, they should have paid a little more attention to detail to St. Louis to make it look authentic. There's so many things. They had Jason Bateman at a Cardinal game the other day. It looked like it was a game at Wood River High School. It was so Bush League done. You'd think HBO, you do it right. Nothing redeeming, but there's part of it. It is intriguing. And that woman, by the way, Linda Cardinelli, wow, what she's on, you just watch. She has what my friend Tom Stasiak refers to as a quality. There's something, she's attention grabbing. Another one. How about this? More middle-class Americans are selling their plasma to make ends meet. These centers, these donation centers, are now popping up in suburban strip malls and in college towns. How about this, Jill? Last year, Americans sold 30% more plasma than they did, say, 3 years ago. And the total income from plasma sold in a 1-year period, $4.7 billion. I'm curious, people who do this, how much do you make for one donation? If you just walk in, what do you make for that donation for that 2-hour time period? Finally, as you know, Reginald Martinez Jackson is my favorite living creature on earth. Monique and the kids are tied for second. He can do no wrong in my eye. So he had his first accident in the house in 3 years, had to hide it from Monique, did not want him getting disciplined. But I found out yesterday I may not be a great parent. I want some feedback on this. Kelly Jackson asked me on the set if I was brushing Reggie's teeth often. I have never brushed the teeth of my dog, and she kind of shamed me into it. Love to get feedback. Do I have to floss them too? Do people do this? Do they get an electric brush, to make their dog's teeth in better shape? But how many people out there are actually brushing their dog's teeth?
I tried it because the vet sort of said you really need to do this, and I tried it. Both of our dogs hated it so much for so long. So then they said second best is to buy this particular kind of chew bone that was $1 million, dental chew bone from the vet, which helped.
That has a
It does something about it, helps with the whatever the buildup is on their teeth. And now Frankie is old, and we just have to spend $1 million every few months to go get that dental teeth cleaning.
Did you
at the
ever think
vet.
about dog insurance?
Yeah, we have it for the cat, so I think
You saved good money there, better.
we have. It was surprisingly okay. Let's talk our expert though, because of course Connor's one of the co-hosts of Animal Talk with Dr.
Well,
he's one of the co-hosts
I
of
do the
Animal
show
Talk.
on the weekends, Frank. You know you're supposed to do it every day if you brush their teeth.
Yeah. Do you brush your cat's teeth?
No, I do not.
Are we supposed to brush our cat's teeth too? I thought it was just a dog thing.
Yeah, no, I mean it's in everything. Yeah. All
84126. How many people are brushing their dog's teeth?
You would have to start when they're just a puppy, because I'm telling you, by the time we knew about this and started trying it, neither of our dogs, and they were pretty compliant dogs and cuddly and friendly, but they were not letting us get anywhere near them with a toothbrush.
Kelly Jackson said her dog runs like the Dickens when she breaks out the toothbrush.
To her or away from her?
Away from her. Oh, hates it.
Okay, Linda Cardellini, by the way, from DTF, she was really good in Dead to Me, which is a series I watched a couple of years ago too.
Really?
She's quite good.
She's compelling.
But I've heard dozens of people reiterate exactly what you said. It's just a little uncomfortable for people because of the whole Bob Richards thing. I think that's kind of touching a nerve for people that I hadn't realized how many. And then secondly, it's so off on all of the St. Louis references that it's actually turning people off and not continuing to watch it as well. So you bring up some good points. Third thought for me today. Today is the day that Apple is rolling out another new iPhone. This one is, though, not aimed at people chasing the latest flashy features. It's a scaled-down version of their flagship models, built for users who just want a solid, reliable phone. I don't know if I agree with this next line. Without paying premium prices, it starts at $600. That's not a premium price for a cell phone?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So even the other brand. What are the other brands?
Your mentality, I'm saying, is off base here. Like, flagships now run you like over $1,000.
Well, I know they do for Apple, but is other brands
Samsung,
too? Everybody.
Google for their regular flagship. They all have other options now, which is probably why Apple is doing this. Like Google, Samsung, they all have like a $600, right in that $600 range. They have a phone.
People of our generation think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To pay it like that. Like Monique has, I think, an i12 and it's got a crack. She goes, I don't want to spend that money, you know.
Yeah, it is. And especially since they do that forced obsolescence thing where it kind of, runs out.
Is this a 17 you're talking about, or
yes.
is it a 9?
Yeah, 6.1-inch screen, 48 megapixels for those who like to play. Got some new colors, but again, they're to Connor's point, the ones with all the bells and whistles and the fanciest cameras are up over $1,000 now. So this is a more basic model, but it still has some of the features that people like, including the emergency feature, satellite messaging, crash detection, automatically call for help after a serious car accident. As well. Coming out today, by the way, India now making a record 25% of all iPhones, part of the big push that's been happening to try to get more of the production out of China and into other places, and it seems to be working to some degree for sure.
So a brand new phone, the top of the line, Connor, it cost...
Like top of the line,
iPhone 17.
They have that kind of have three tiers now. They kind of have the base, which Jill was talking about, the regular, which is kind of right around 1,000, 11, and then they have the premium versions. They all have premium versions, which are more like 1,600 or up.
Wow.
So.
Those of you who have paid under $500 for a car in our lifetime have a hard time paying $1,000 for a phone. But
well, you can get some really cheap ones out there, but it's going to be super off-brand, and it's not going to have features, and it's fine. And there's flip phones still exist. Go buy a burner phone.
It's what we have to do. But I'm old, and I still like, and I still think like an old person who likes a $1,000 car, which doesn't exist anymore either. But one thing that does exist is Altair Travel and Cruises having just so much expertise in all parts of the world. And I just had another great experience with Altair. Have a dear friend taking a beloved, a long-awaited, rather, trip in September to Spain. And she's like, I really want somebody who has a lot of experience planning a trip to this part of the world. So, of course, I call up my friends at Altair Travel and Cruises and say, who do you have that's really good in this part of the world? Immediately got a name, a telephone number, an email, could pass it on to my friend. And that just feels so good to know that you're not going to be talking to somebody who's like, well, I may have heard of this place, or I can look it up on the map the same as you, but they have a real love and passion for providing detailed information for you and being able to help you plan a really good trip to give you the best experience wherever it is in the world that you are desiring to go. Once again, they come through as they have now for me. I've been referring them to everybody in my friends and family. They're doing my daughter's honeymoon, all kinds of other people, and every single person comes back and says, oh my gosh, this is what an experience with a travel agency should be. 314-968-9600, altairtravel.com.
Diana from Newstetter's Fine Jewelers here to remind you, we don't just offer the best pieces, we offer one of the last master hand engravers in our country. My father can create timeless, personal, and unforgettable pieces. Come by our showroom at the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or learn more online at wowdiamonds.com.
Are you retired? Are you thinking about retiring? Who is helping you with retirement? Might be time to check out the show When Retirement Happens, hosted by Kevin Lloyd of Legacy Wealth Advisors. Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon. On the Big 550 KTRS.
Since 1974, Permajack of St. Louis has been helping residential and commercial owners protect their biggest investment. From successfully solving foundation structural problems to making sure basements remain dry, Permajack has performed tens of thousands of projects on both sides of the river, utilizing state-of-the-art technology, techniques, and equipment. Permajack of St. Louis has done it with honesty and integrity, never recommending anything outside of what you really need. For many repairs, Permajack provides a transferable life of structure warranty, all while Permajack of St. Louis has earned a BBB A+ rating and accreditation for foundation settlement, bowed or buckling walls, cracks in your foundation, walls or bricks, or basement waterproofing. Choose the hometown family-owned team at Permajack of St. Louis. Schedule your free inspection and estimate at permajackofstlewis.com. That's permajackofstlewis.com. Permajack, solid as rock.
Only 2 seconds left. He shoots, he scores! Game over!
It's the end of the game for you and your car. To get the deal you want, you've only got one shot. That's why you go to HW Kia. HW Kia delivers the best Kia buying experience in the Lou. No pressure, no games, no nonsense. Right now, you can score a brand new HW Kia K4 for just $199 a month. That's a new K4 for under $200 a month on a 24-month lease. Has your credit been keeping you out of the game? Nobody works harder to help get you approved than HW Kia.
Hey, everybody, remember, Big D wants to see ya in an HW Kia.
HW Kia, in the heart of West County on Manchester Road. Start now at hwkia.com.
With approved credit, 2025 Kia K4, $34.95 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year, no security deposit, plus tax, title, license, and admin fee. Expires 3/31/26.
When you want to send flowers to a loved one for a birthday, anniversary, or that special occasion, call your friends at Walter Knoll Florist. Walter Knoll is family-owned and operated and offers custom designs by expert designers. A huge inventory and selection that only the largest florist can offer, with quality and care that no grocery store florist can meet. They have several locations in the St. Louis metro area to serve you. Order online today at WKF.com. That's WKF.com. Walter Knoll Florist, your personal florist since 1883.
Don't miss the Rammer Billiken Report every Thursday.
Just before 5 p.m. during the Heidi Klum Show.
Bob Ramsey will give an in-depth look into the red-hot Billikens each week. Powered by Milton Law Group, Davey Tree Expert Company, Hackett Security, and Connor Roofing on the Big 550 KTRS. And now, KTRS weather.
Meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking scattered showers and storms throughout much of the morning hours. That'll continue to die off with just some rain and cooler temperatures as we head towards the afternoon hours. We'll continue to fall back off with temperatures towards the 40s this afternoon. Then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, things are looking drier. High 57 Thursday, mostly sunny. Friday, 61. Saturday, 65. With more chances of rain as we head off into Sunday and another fall down of temperatures. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch for the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show on a Wednesday morning. Of course, Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, and Connor in the house. And so is Sarah Fensky, executive editor of St. Louis Magazine. And Sarah, I got to ask you about the treasurer and the parking, I like to call it parking meter gate. Yesterday, you guys, I believe, broke the story that not only had he maybe been giving himself a pass to park wherever he wants, but his girlfriend, who is not a city employee, also maybe had that free parking pass as well?
Yeah, she definitely did. And I'm so glad you asked about this because I feel like some of these revelations seem to be getting a shrug from some people at City Hall. And to me, this just seems so unbelievable. Like you're going to not do your job of, booting the vehicles that have racked up thousands of dollars of tickets. And in the meantime, you're just handing out these city issue hang tags. From best we can tell, that these are going to people who are not doing any business for the city, but are just a friend, or it appears an ex-girlfriend, would have been a girlfriend at the time that she got this hang tag, where you don't have to pay the meters. It's like, well, what kind of system is this in St. Louis?
Right. At worst, it feels like graft and corruption, and at best, it's terrible optics, however you want to look at it. But also, our treasurer, the Post-Dispatch reporting that he was willing to potentially overpay for this parking lot that they're taking another look at now to say, we need more parking, but we didn't really do your due diligence on the price that you want to pay for this. Are we getting into the shenanigans of what we saw from our now former sheriff when it comes to this position? And if so, the city doesn't really have the ability to fire him, right? What would be the options if somebody finally decides we've sort of had it? This is really not behavior that we want from a taxpayer-paid leader in our city. What would be the procedure for maybe taking him out of office?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good comparison to the sheriff, even though I think this guy is different in a critical way. Like, it's not just like a clown show. It's more like it appears to be some sketchiness. Like, is there corruption here? You do wonder, it almost makes it more dangerous than the clown show that we saw with the sheriff's office. But like the sheriff, there are very few ways you can get an elected official out of office, which this guy is. One would be if the attorney general decided they had enough and got a quo warranto, and now a term that we all know in St. Louis after Kim Gardner and the sheriff, where they could go to a judge and say, this person is so derelict in their duties, so bad at their job, that a judge needs to remove them. That's obviously an extraordinary step. I'd be really surprised if the attorney general thinks that what we reported rises to that level. The other step would be, I think citizens could do some sort of like recall type petition. I don't know if citizens are going to bother to do that. I just, one would hope that when this guy is up for re-election in a couple of years, people will still remember some of this stuff. Or maybe, maybe public pressure would get to a point that people would say, maybe you'd be happier in the private sector. I don't know.
So the regional leaders came together on Tuesday to amend the Gateway Arches National Park's boundaries. Explain, please.
Yeah, this was very cool. I got to finally leave my desk where I sit and edit all day, and I went to East St. Louis. And there is a park there, the Malcolm W. Martin Park, that has just the most fantastic view of the St. Louis skyline and the Gateway Arch. And the idea was always that there would be land in East St. Louis that would make the Gateway Arch National Park something that extended on both sides of the river. Well, they are now getting very serious about doing that. Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski, who represents the Metro East, she was there. She has taken the lead on legislation in Congress that would add that park and some adjacent acreage to the national park. And that would open up its development where you could make it something like the Gateway Arch National Park, where you could make it beautiful, pull together some philanthropic funding as well as some federal funding and make this a national park that we could be proud of. So East St. Louis people are really excited about this. Nikki Budzinski and Wesley Bell were there. Ann Wagner was not there. Mike Bost was not there. But they have signed on to co-sponsor this bill, and they feel confident that they can get Eric Schmidt to also carry it in the Senate. So it seems to have that critical bipartisan backing where this could actually happen.
Yes, it's so nice to see when there's something that really does benefit the region that everybody's willing to come together to talk about that. A police board showing off their decrepit building in the basement to make a case for more money. Ryan Kroll reporting on this story this morning.
Yeah, Ryan Kroll went to this dog and pony show yesterday and was like, yeah, the police supply building basement is really gross, Sarah. And I was like, well, Ryan, I'm sorry that you drew the short end of the stick. I got to go to the arch ceremony. You went to the police basement. But they're trying to argue that because these buildings are in disrepair, this is why they need more money from the city right now. That Kara Spencer is saying could lead to catastrophic layoffs where we won't get our garbage picked up and the city parks can't be maintained. I think a lot of reporters came out of this press conference with just as many questions as they had answers. And some of the questions were, why does this have to be done right now? Like, there's a lot of buildings that the city owns that aren't in great shape. We can all agree to that. Is there a reason the police department needs this one fixed right now? Why is this more important than salaries? Some of the things more directly tied to reducing crime or keeping crime low. People didn't really have good answers for that. It also turned out they hadn't done an assessment that would show why they needed specifically $30 million for this. I've no doubt that there's $30 million of work to be done on city-owned buildings. But the lack of specificity, I think, didn't really help as they're trying to make this case.
So you had a fun column about DTF, what it's getting right, what it's getting wrong, the new HBO Jason Bateman series. But the wrong stuff, the St. Louis County Sheriff's Department, Purina National, St. Louis Metro County. I thought the worst thing was just having him sit at that baseball game in episode 2, where it's at Busch Stadium, one of the most beautiful places to watch a big league game, and it looks like you're watching a high school game at Potosi.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was watching. I was like, man, Bush looks bad here. I will say we wrote our story sort of saying what they got right and what they got wrong after the first episode.
Yeah.
Had I kept watching, I would have been like, man, all these street names are made up. Like, they're like, oh, were you down on Grant Street? It's like, why don't you just make that market? It would have taken 2 seconds. But yeah, the Busch Stadium thing was bad. My husband was also laughing because he goes, oh, man, pretty much everybody in the stands at Busch Stadium is so thin. They all look like they've had plastic surgery. This isn't a St. Louis crowd. These are California extras.
So, well, yes, we like our people to have a little meat on their bones and look like they actually enjoy a ballpark hot dog. At least I do, right. For sure. I feel much more comfortable in that setting myself.
Yeah. By the way, he's a famous weatherman, and he's married, and he's in a public setting with the girl. I mean, that's kind of giving it away pretty early there.
Yeah, Frank, I feel like you know how this goes. You can't go to Busch Stadium without people coming up to you, I'm sure. And if you're there with some babe, people are going, oh, Frank Cusimano, what's he up to? Like, that would be the talk of the town. It would probably end up in my newsletter.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So I have to say, speaking of TV news, my old friend and longtime colleague, Elliot Davis, who in quote, I always tease him, you're really not that good at retirement, buddy, but you guys reporting today, of course, he had an incident, unfortunately, that required some hospitalization while he was doing his social media reporting at City Hall a few weeks ago, but it seems to be, he got the doctors okay to be back at it yesterday.
Yeah, Ryan was happy to see him at the press conference. I think everyone was happy to see Elliot was back on his feet. And Ryan was just laughing because he goes, yeah, Elliot showed up at this press conference I was at, and then there was a little break. Elliot ran down and did a whole nother interview, like tracked down Larry Rice. Like, he's just back to like the Energizer Bunny. It's like, you know, part of why he ended up in the hospital for 5 days is he'd gotten so dehydrated. He wasn't taking care of himself. So it's like, Elliot, I hope you learned something from this. Like, there's a lot of people rooting for his good health, but he just seems to love what he's doing so much. He's working harder in retirement than half the people on my staff, as their job is to do this every day.
God bless him. That's some passion. We appreciate your time. It's always a great visit with Sarah Fenske from St. Louis Magazine. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Capital Advisor Group, Jeff Zufall, whole team doing a great job this year. It's tax season, and most people, those of us filing taxes, certainly don't love it. And if you talk to a lot of people who are CPAs, accountants, and others, they kind of go, oh, when they talk about tax season. Jeff gets excited about it. I mean, seriously, you talk to him and he's like, there's just, it's very meaningful for him to take listeners like you and me and people here at the station and be able to understand tax laws frontwards and backwards enough to know that you are going to he is going to likely save a lot of us money on our taxes. Because when you just do the computer programs or you go to perhaps maybe one of the strip mall kind of places, it's very cookie cutter and it doesn't often get to the nuances within the tax laws, particularly if you're a small business owner, particularly if you have some complicating factors like maybe you own a cabin with other family members or you had some job changes or some other property changes. You really need somebody that can handle the things outside of the box. And Jeff and his team at Capital Advisory Group are really good at helping your money grow in that sort of traditional wealth management way and making sure that you're not overpaying on your taxes. He literally wrote a book on the subject. He does a show every weekend here on KTRS with Josh Gilbert, Keep What's Yours, also talking about these matters. But the best way to get the most bang for your buck with Jeff and his team is to call him today and set up an appointment. CapitalAdvisoryGRP.com, 636-394-5524.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I'm inviting you to join me October 23rd as we journey in search of Iceland's magical northern lights with Colette. We'll experience the land of fire and ice with a rare opportunity to search for the northern lights every single night with a tour guide. Our journey includes a day in the charming city of Reykjavik, checking out the steamy lava fields, massive glacier-sculpted mountains and valleys. We'll get unique views of beautiful waterfalls and walk along the black volcanic sand beach. And let's not forget, a relaxing dip in the Blue Lagoon. Colette handles all the deets, from flights and meals and hotels, even the local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life with me. You have until March 25th to sign up, so don't miss out. Join me. Call our friends at Altair Travel, 314-968-9600, or go to KTRS.com to learn more.
If you're concerned about the health of your trees, you need to talk to the Davey Tree Expert Company. These people love trees. They have a passion for keeping trees healthy. Their certified arborists provide personalized care for your trees. They're trained in the latest technologies for safe and accurate pruning and provide reliable preventative measures for diseases and invasive insects.
Locations in South County, Webster Groves, and coming soon to St. Charles. Davey Tree serves the entire St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river. Visit Davey, spelled Davey.com.
Mizzou basketball on the Big 550 KTRS is powered by Graybar.
Graybar.
On the run, Mitchell. Your Missouri Tigers tip off in the second round of the SEC tournament on Thursday against the winner of LSU and Kentucky at 11:30 a.m. Pre-game begins at 11 a.m. Catch all the action right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Presented by Graybar for all your electrical and datacom solutions.
Right baseline to the left, jams it as he hangs. Hi, I'm Joseph Shear, born and raised right here in St. Louis. Over the last 15 years, I've been working as a financial advisor with some of the largest companies on Wall Street. Now I'm back in my hometown, partnering with W. Swartz & Company and helping clients approaching or in retirement, growing families, and business owners reach their financial goals with minimum levels of risk. I would love the opportunity to partner with you on your investment strategy and financial plan, or maybe just provide a free, no-obligation second opinion. You can call me, Joseph Shear, directly at 314-518-4725. That's 314-518-4725. Or find me on my website at wswartz.com. That's WSWARTZ.com. I'm a proud long-term supporter and active volunteer of the Backstopper. At W. Swartz & Company, we provide unbiased, highly customized guidance and service fiduciaries. We do not sell commission-based products. Call me, Joseph Shear, at 314-518-4725.
Worldwide Technology Raceway is the only track in America to host a NASCAR event, an IndyCar event, and an NHRA event.
The Raceway features a full schedule on their drag strip, oval track, and gateway kartplex. For full schedule and ticket info, go online to www.raceway.com.
The track, under the leadership of owner Curtis Francois, continues to upgrade the race experience for fans who come from around the country. For tickets, go to www.raceway.com.
That's www.raceway.com.
And welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. There's a buzz now about the World Baseball Classic, and it's not good. Jill, they have a manager by the name of Mark DeRosa, who actually had a cup of coffee here in St. Louis, fine Major League Baseball player, and he's also one of the best hosts on MLB Network. He's dynamic. He's handsome. He's smart. Everybody loves Mark DeRosa. So they had him be the manager of the World Baseball Classic. He knows the game, great communicator. It's a short exhibition tournament. So he admitted last night, as they were stunned by Italy, that he did not know that the USA had not yet clinched a spot in the knockout round of the World Baseball Classic. Oop. So he sat guys like Bryce Harper and Alex Bregman. He sent scrub pitchers to the mound, and they had not advanced, and now they're scrambling to advance. And everybody is all over this manager, Mark DeRosa, who before this was one of the most beloved baseball figures. Everybody loves Mark DeRosa, and now the poor guy catching a lot of heat.
I thought you were going to say that they found out he threw the game because of a bet.
Oh, but no. Many Italians are thinking he was helping us out.
Well, and of course, I don't think there's one actual Italian on the Italian team, to be clear.
No.
I think.
Oh, you mean actually from Italy?
Yeah, from Italy.
Well, I mean, I'm Italian. I'm not from Italy.
You're Italian-American. I just think...
Well, that's one of the criticisms of the whole thing is how do you identify national identity? But it's baseball. It gives baseball fans a chance to see people on the mounds, and they would like to win if they for our country if we possibly can. So I get exactly what you're saying. Fun conversation coming up in our weekly special a day early because we're off early because we've got some basketball here on KTRS, the Big 550, the Talk of St. Louis tomorrow. So find out what makes the new chef and the new location for the Missouri Athletic Club so exciting. Coming up right at the top of the hour after the news. Do not go away.
Looking for a new kitchen or bath? Call me, Anne-Marie Boges, the co-host of the Inside Out Show and owner and designer at Anne-Marie Design Studio. Visit our website at annemariestudio.com. We can help make your dream space into a reality. We're a fine kitchen and bath boutique located in Wildwood. We do it all, from design to bid to installation too. Call us today at 636-821-3395 or go online at annemariestudio.com. Let's make your dream kitchen or bath a reality with Anne-Marie Design Studio.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
The Big 550.
KTRS St. Louis.
Second week, President Trump is heading to both Ohio and Kentucky, working to tout his economic policies while he faces growing criticism over rising oil prices due to the war. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has more.
In Cincinnati, the president will tour a pharmaceutical plant where he'll highlight his administration's efforts to lower the cost of prescription drugs. Then it's across the Ohio River to a logistics warehouse in nearby Hebron, Kentucky. That's located in the district of GOP Congressman Thomas Massie, who's been a thorn in the president's side, backing the Epstein Files Transparency Act and various war powers resolutions in the House. Massie's main primary challenger, former Navy SEAL Ed Galrine, has Trump's backing and is expected to be on hand for his remarks.
The White House is praising the latest report on inflation as evidence that the president's economics policies are working. The consumer price index for February, little changed from January. In Iran, the Pentagon says it continues to hit strategic military sites. ABC's Ian Pannell says Iran is still able to launch attacks on neighboring Gulf and Arab states and keep a chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, a key transport artery for 20% of global oil.
Growing concerns over the region's oil supply and reports Iran's planning to use mines to further disrupt the flow of oil. President Trump warning the military consequences of mining the strait would be at a level never seen before. The new attacks coming on what the U.S. promised would be the most intense day of the war so far.
Across the Midwest, cleanup and damage assessment underway following volatile storms and a reported tornado. In Lake Village, Indiana, officials say 2 people died, many others hurt. Across the state line into Kankakee County, Illinois, the damage extensive. Kankakee Board Chair Matthew Alexander Hildebrand.
Fortunately, there are no deaths or missing people, and only 9 with minor injuries.
More storms are on tap for the Midwest today. You're listening to ABC News.
Get your reservations in now for Bishop's Post. Bishop's Post. They have the best version of your classic favorites. Located in Chesterfield, Bishop's Post is the perfect spot for that celebration.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Cardinals single-game tickets are now on sale for the 2026 season. The schedule delivers big-time matchups, including weekend series against the Cubs and Dodgers, and visits from the Boston Red Sox. Add in a promotions calendar stacked with fan favorites like all-new giveaways, a Hawaiian short and shirt set, golf-inspired hat, dark mode jersey, and a whole lot more. It's Busch Stadium at its best all season long. Lock in your seats today at Cardinals.com.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. A Missouri man on the FBI's most wanted list has been arrested in connection with a nationwide cattle fraud scheme. Authorities say Joshua Link of Strafford, Missouri, was taken into custody at Los Angeles International Airport. Prosecutors say Link and others allegedly defrauded more than 2,200 victims in a scheme involving cattle investments. Federal officials say the case involves more than $100 million in losses. A man accused of attacking a Metrolink security officer with a railroad spike is now facing charges. Police say 33-year-old Corey Anderson charged the officer with the spike after the officer told him to get off the tracks along the 300 block of South 18th Street on Monday. The officer was reportedly able to subdue Anderson despite being hit in the head and face several times. Anderson has been charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. He is being held without bond. The Missouri Supreme Court heard arguments yesterday in a lawsuit challenging the state's newly drawn-up congressional map. The case questioned whether lawmakers were allowed to redraw districts outside the normal redistricting cycle. The map approved in 2025 could affect the competitiveness of several districts ahead of the 2026 election. The court has not indicated when it will issue a ruling. The January collapse of a pipe as wide as a car dumped so much sewage into the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., that it prompted an emergency declaration and federal assistance. But as KTRS's Steve Potter reports, smaller sewer overflows in the St. Louis region and elsewhere draw far less notice.
According to the Associated Press, tens of thousands occur every year across the U.S., contaminating rivers, flooding streets, and sometimes causing backups into homes, threatening human health. In the Metro East, Cahokia Heights reached court agreements to address the problems there, and some small grants were canceled, as were regional assistance centers that were intended to help small communities. One such center that served 6 Midwest states was setting up and preparing to test drinking water and clean up mold in the East St. Louis region, one of the dozens planned before the program ended. But there still are major sources of financing. In November, the EPA announced $6.5 billion for wastewater and drinking water projects through a loan program, plus another $550 million that will be handed to the states. Steve Potter, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. More development is coming to the Cortex Innovation District. KTRS's Jill Enders has a story.
Healy Properties broke ground on the Cortex Innovation District's first new construction residential project. This is being built along the 4100 block of Clayton Avenue near the Cortex Metrolink station. The mixed-use development, named Iris, will have ground floor retail space and 174 apartments, 17 of which will be classified as affordable housing. The project is expected to be completed in 2028. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
Now let's look at the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement, Saturday mornings 9 to 11. Wall Street right now, Dow Jones is down 491 points to 47,215. NASDAQ is down 65 to 22,631. S&P 500 down 33 points to 6,748. KTRS Sports. SLU senior forward Robbie Avila is dealing with plantar fasciitis as the Billikens prepare for the A-10 tournament. Avila could be listed as questionable for Friday's quarterfinal game. And the Atlantic 10 has worked out a scheduling agreement with the American Athletic Conference to offer more attractive out-of-league matchups beginning next year. SLU is set to take on South Florida on November 29th this fall. KTRS weather. Today's high came at midnight with 68 degrees. Temperatures have been dropping throughout the day with more rain and storms possible through early afternoon. The rest of the day will be windy and cloudy. Temperatures will drop to the 40s this afternoon. Skies will clear, overnight low of 35. Tomorrow sunny and a high of 54. Right now, with rain falling in the area, we have 56 degrees. The time is 11:08. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
And now,
Feed me Seymour.
I like to eat.
it's time for the Kuno Food Service Weekly Special.
Yum, 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 yum.
Right here on KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Welcome back. Second hour of the Frank and Jill show today. Jill Farmer, Frank Cusimano, Connor McCarthy here. Very excited. It's not that often that we have a chef who's done things like earned Michelin stars, cooked with people like Gordon Ramsay, cooked for people like David Beckham, heard of him. Victoria Beckham, heard of her. The Queen of England.
Not bad.
Not too bad. And soon he's going to be preparing some delicious meals, including a few with a St. Louis flair for the new Missouri Athletic Club location in Clayton, about to open at the Pierre Laclede Center. Very excited to, in our weekly special today, welcome Chef Bogdan Danila. Thank you so much for being here. Also joined today by the Director of Operations for the new Clayton location, Greg Gerber. Chef, how's St. Louis doing so far in welcoming you to our city for you to create some great food delights here?
One of the best places in the country. So I traveled a lot, and I think the people are so humble and so welcoming. Like, I'm really enjoying it. If the weather was Florida weather, I could probably stay here forever, but the people are really awesome. So I do enjoy the hospitality. Everybody, I feel like they're going above and beyond, not just at work, but even in society. They're like, they're very cool. So, yeah.
And Greg, I think when the concept came out that there's going to be an MAC in Clayton, some of us thought, wait a minute, you got a great one downtown, you got a great one in West County. How are you going to make that work? Well, you make it work by bringing in a world-class chef. That's your hook here.
It very much is, and we are looking forward to really elevating a level of dining, destination dining. And if you look at where we'll be on the 14th, 15th floors, overlooking it, very much a perch-like a viewpoint of St. Louis that you can really come and enjoy, celebrate, work with your partners, and to really make sure you have a great time.
And the membership has been off the charts in terms of people trying to get in?
We are. It's been fantastic.
What are your numbers like?
We are planning to open with 800. We have crossed the 750 mark and steadily growing. Once we reach 800 members, then we will be on a wait list.
Wow.
Until we are open and running.
I loved talking to you off air a little bit, Chef, before we came back from the break. You already have been sampling some delicious St. Louis food, and you want to take some St. Louis classic dishes and put sort of your own stamp on them. Can you give us an example or two of what you have kind of working around in your mind right now?
Yeah, so we're going to do a slinger for breakfast. So any blue collar dishes that obviously St. Louis was based on, and any comfort dishes, we'll try to elevate them to not necessarily a fine dining level, but just we'll give them a nostalgic twist on them. We'll do that. The party potatoes is something that my neighbors introduced me to, so we'll try to do a dessert with party potatoes and stuff. So we'll introduce some savory dishes to desserts, and people will be pleasantly surprised when they see all those childhood dishes in a fancy restaurant.
So, Chef, give us like 2 or 3 things on the dinner menu in terms of entrees that or in your wheelhouse that will blow St. Louis away?
First couple that comes to mind is definitely the quail PTVS. So we're doing this quail and foie gras pie, which was one of the Michelin inspector's favorite in New York at my restaurant in the Clock Tower. We're going to do a duck with cherries. Obviously, we have the cherry diamond, which is the tradition.
Yeah,
the
nice
magazine.
touch.
Yeah. For dessert, the apple tartan. So the Gordon Ramsay apple tart, which is the upside down apple pie.
Oh.
It's something to die for. So that's the.
Speaking of, we have to, I mean, I know I dropped those names in the beginning, so we got to ask some questions about, first one, what was it like to cook with Gordon Ramsay? We think we know because we watch him on TV all the time. What was it really like for you?
Challenging, very rewarding. You have to be mentally strong. It's not what you see on TV with all the shouting and the screaming. It's more like mental pressure, and you have to be very disciplined. Probably similar somehow to like an army regiment, or they call it the special forces of the kitchen. So it's pretty tough environment. But as long as you are 100% in and you give your best, if your legs and your brain holds up, then you should be good to go.
Did you get the chef's kiss from the Queen of England after she ate your food?
No, too much security, but they were very happy. Yeah.
So, Greg, how do you go about, we know about recruiting, what head coaches do to try to get players to come to their school. How do you go about recruiting a world-renowned chef to come to Clayton, Missouri?
Well, you start with a vision, and you talk about what the Missouri Athletic is, what it has been, and what it can be. And you start with that, and you talk about what this means with a third location and what impact is required in order to make sure this not just successful, but also sets us up for the future. And so when you look at that and you say, again, like finding a team, well, what are your star players and your positions that you find, and you recognize that if dining is going to be the hallmark of this operation, and we need to make sure that we have someone in place that fully understands that. And so it's been great. So when we reached out, we looked nationally to coast to coast, and Chef Bogdan was obviously one of the finalists, and when we brought him in, but what really struck us as just what we told ourselves after having met Chef Bogdan was about his approach to food. It's not just about look at all these great things that he's done and he cooked for the Queen and been in great places around the world, but it's about his disposition and his understanding of what the goal is and how we can make that happen and what type of team we need to build around this to make this successful.
If you're just joining us, very happy to be joined on the weekly special segment today by Chef Bogdan Danila, Executive Chef for the new MAC Clayton location at the Pierre Laclede Center, and of course the Restaurant Director of Operations, Greg Gerber, who you just heard as well. We asked you a couple of minutes ago where you have had a chance to eat in St. Louis, and your eyes lit up, Chef Bogdan, at one of the places that we know and love here on the Frank and Jill Show as well. Tell us the place that you've loved the most so far.
There's only one answer: is Balkan Treat Box.
Balkan
and I know
Treat
I've been
Box.
repeating myself a lot, and probably they would, they would have to pay me something if I do this free publicity all the time. But yeah, they cook like my mom cooks, so I just love it. Coming from Eastern Europe, being born in Romania, I think they do an amazing job. Their food is delicious, hospitality. I love that place. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're great humans. You talked about St. Louisans being so warm and friendly. They're such good people too.
So sometimes greatness can be traced to a really young age. You just get that head start. Tiger Woods hitting golf balls at age 3 on the Mike Douglas Show. When did you know, hey, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? At what age, and when did you have it in your head? Yep, this is it.
You'll be surprised, Frank. So I never had a working job till I was 19.
Wow.
I come from a pretty decent family. I went to private school. I studied international law in England. I did 2 years as a law degree. And then waking up one day, my friends being in Ireland, partying in Dublin with all the Guinness and the great Irish community, they pitched me over. They said, just come over and start working in restaurants. It's amazing. You're going to have a great life. So I gave up my schooling, quit university, and started working in restaurants. And
I'm
out
sure
of
your parents were
necessity.
Yeah, what about mom and dad for
They didn't-
that international law degree?
They didn't speak to me for it was tough for a few years. They were upset. And out of necessity, I had to prove themselves that whatever path I'm going to go down. I never went to culinary school, never even been inside
You're a Michelin star chef and you never went to culinary
so
school.
I guess self-taught, or I worked with some great chefs, and I was lucky enough. At the start of my career in Dublin, I worked only at Michelin star restaurants for the first 15 years of my career, and at high levels. So that definitely shaped of who I am today. But
That's really very, very cool. So even people who aren't members of Missouri Athletic Club, many of us have amazing memories from going to one of the locations for a wedding or a banquet or somebody's retirement party or celebration of life. You guys, Greg, take the whole celebration aspect of what you do at MAC pretty seriously as well, don't you?
We do. I mean, it's very important for everybody, right? And so we are looking forward to doing that to probably a smaller element at the Missouri Athletic Clayton. The idea being that since a lot of the space will be used for restaurants, there will be a cigar lounge in there. We have a co-working space. There'll be some small,
cool.
Yeah, that'll be very nice. We will have some small private rooms there as well. So there is a space that can accommodate 50 or 60 there, but it's really meant to be a very thoughtful space that you can have targeted meetings, whether it's for business or for celebrations as well.
Are there workout facilities there?
There will be.
Okay.
There will be. And so that's something that once we open, our first phase is to get the restaurants up and running, make sure we're humming comfortably. And then a few months down the road, and we're still working out the details, of course, but there will be an athletic facility. It's going to be some nice views overlooking the city as well.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And when Frank's there either working out or when he's at the co-working space, he wants to make sure that he wants green M&Ms and separately from his pastries first thing in the morning. That's his usual request.
Well,
here.
and that will be on our notes about you,
Yeah,
Frank, so
yeah.
that we know when we're ready.
Put it in the suggestion box right away. Chef, what about, let's just say you're at home and you're going to cook something for yourself. Like, what's the last thing you cooked for yourself at home? Let's just say you're alone and you're just cooking something up. I'd love to hear this.
Chicken Parmesan. So my son loves chicken parm, and it's probably out of my, I'm not very good with cooking Italian food. I can cook any other food under the sky, but my son loves, so I'm learning. I just ordered my pizza oven for the backyard for the summer, so I'm definitely going to focus. This year is going to be all about Italian food and cooking chicken parms and pizzas and stuff. So
the smile on Frank's face if you're watching on YouTube.
We'll invite you over to that too.
That's right, because Italy and Romania not that far apart.
Yeah.
So you
as
guys,
long as your last name ends in a vowel, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
that's all he asks as well. So when people are listening to this, going, wait, Michelin star chef, new location in Clayton, some of the best views ever. How soon can we expect things to be up and running at the Clayton location?
Well, there are some permits. There's some inspections, of course, that we're in the middle of right now. So
hopefully the inspectors are hungry and listening to this today, so they want to make sure they can move things along.
We would love that. And so, we still expect springtime to be, I would, between us as friends, I would say the end of April, beginning of May is a possibility. But we should be making that announcement here very, very soon once we get past a few more levels of inspection.
You'll call us first, right, so we can announce it here.
Absolutely.
And Chef, I know the downtown food's really good. The West County food is solid too. But will you have any role in that? I know you're cooking for 800 in Clayton, but will you have any role in overall MAC food?
No, we're just focusing on the Clayton location. So when I joined the team, I was very impressed with the leadership, Chip, Greg, and the vision they had for the MAC Clayton. So I think I have enough to chew before I.
Yeah.
And I want to focus on this and make it a really special place. So.
Chip is really a sharp guy, does great work. So we appreciate you guys coming in. Thanks so much. We encourage everybody to take a look at the MAC in Clayton. We know the food is going to be off the charts.
And our friends at Kuna, by the way, do provide some of the food at the MAC locations, which is good to know as well. Speaking of good food and good environments, McKnight Place Senior Living in St. Louis does an incredible job providing just the best of the best for luxury living and assisted living and memory care. They feature excellent care for luxury accommodations for active seniors. How do we know that? Well, many senior communities are owned by large national companies. That leads to a corporate environment, no personal touch. It's the opposite of what's happening and has been happening for over 30 years at McKnight Place. They're local. They care so much. They do a beautiful job, and they want to start the conversation with you today if you're ready to thrive in this season of life. McKnightPlace.com, 314-993-3333.
Tune in Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for Straight Talk and Retirement with Jeff and Aaron Lapidus for an intimate understanding of the retirement needs you may soon be facing.
The University of Missouri St. Louis is committed to providing top-ranked education. More than 80% of our students receive financial aid. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and explore your financial aid options at more.umsl.edu.
Hey St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. As a local small business owner for the past 24 years, I always do my best to shop local and support our community. Recently, 2 of the largest tree contractors in the region have sold to out-of-town investment groups. This means that the new owners of these companies are not invested in quality, customer satisfaction, or safety, except for how it affects their bottom line. Timberline Professional Tree Care was founded in 2001 and is focused solely on giving you, the customer, the safest, highest quality product while providing the best customer service before, during, and after the job. I've poured my heart and soul into tree care for the past 24 years, and we aren't going anywhere. When it comes time to take care of your trees, I ask that you shop local and call me, Ben Barnett, at Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or online at stltreecare.com.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon and then Paynin from tractor back put in another 72 hours. His son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
This salute to all farmers is proudly brought to you by Royal Banks of Missouri and the Big 550 KTRS.
Mom, what do you always say? There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer. That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newssetter's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
Spring is here, and that means you're going to be spending more time outside and enjoying the outdoors. But your deck, you've been thinking about doing something with that deck for years. Don't wait any longer. Go see my friends over there at Outdoor Living, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. It's right there. It's been there a long time. At Outdoor Living, the showroom has a great style, great designs. You can get all sorts of options. They'll come out to your house. They'll do a site visit, and when you're ready, they'll build you a deck with metal framing, composite decking, and they will put a 50-year warranty on that deck. That's right. You don't have to worry about staining. You don't have to worry about warping or anything else. All you have to worry about is how much fun you're going to have. They've also got pergolas and fences and patio furniture. Yeah, they got patio furniture at Outdoor Living. Check out the showroom, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. It looks like the old Denny's. You're in the right place. Or online, outdoorlivinginc.com for all of your patio needs and a 50-year warranty on that new deck. OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Kuna Food Service has been the trusted food supplier in the Midwest since 1918. For over 100 years, Kuna Food Service has been distributing the highest quality food products to some of your favorite restaurants while delivering superior customer service. When a restaurant puts their trust in Kuna Food Service, they get a team that truly cares about their success. That's why at Kuna, they like to say, they're big enough to handle it, yet small enough to care. Check them out online at kunafoodservice.com.
Can I get serious for a moment? Something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is my front yard and taking care of your front yard. Because when you drive by someone's house and it's full of weeds, you think to yourself, oh man, it's very, very simple. You know how much I love to pretend to be a yard dork. You know what I use? Fertilome. I go to fertilome.com and I type in my zip code, and a whole host of local independent lawn and garden dealers show up. I buy the crabgrass preventer plus lawn food. It's the spring application. I get it down on my yard as soon as possible, and that greens up my yard and keeps the weeds away. So it makes me look like I know what I'm doing. But really, all I'm doing is getting Fertilome and putting it on my front yard. And that will take care of my yard for many, many, many weeks, and it go a long way to having the greenest yard in the block. So this spring, you want to green up your yard and get rid of the weeds? It all starts at Fertilome or fertilome.com.
The Bomarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory at bomarito.com.
Want a song?
Like the song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Earlier today, McGraw was talking about how much he's loving watching the new Paul McCartney documentary. I mentioned we had watched, I believe it's on Prime, and it's all about his years post-Beatles. So it's really mostly about Wings. And I think I've mentioned before that the song that John and I love the most, I think, in the world is Maybe I'm Amazed by Paul McCartney and Wings. But I ran across this version from the Kennedy Center Honors when they were honoring Paul McCartney back in 2010. And it's by David Grohl and Nora Jones, their interpretation of this fabulous song. She's in my
that's a
top
great
5 vocalists. And by the way, I a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I read David Grohl's biography. It was really interesting. For those of you who don't remember, he was the drummer for Nirvana initially, and then of course he was the founder of the Foo Fighters. He's really an interesting guy. I'm sure he had ghostwriter help, but it's in the world of musician biographies. I've only read a few, but I really I found it very compelling. I really liked it.
So it's a nitpick that doesn't really matter, but it's not a Wings song, actually. He
It's
released
just
it.
a
It's
Paul
just a Paul
McCartney. Yeah,
McCartney
you're right.
song. He
Yeah.
released it like essentially right after the Beatles broke apart, and then he formed Wings a couple years later.
Yeah, and now John did, but he did play when Paul McCartney and Wings played in concert.
Yeah, they would play it in
They
concert,
would play it
yeah.
for sure. So it was in the repertoire.
I think the really great thing about Paul McCartney is like some of his best songs are simply about the love he had for Linda. Like The Two of Us. And
I actually really think you would
Lady.
like the
Well, that
documentary.
version was great.
But I think you would like the documentary too, because it
It's
really
Netflix?
is. It's on, I believe, Prime, but it really gets into their relationship. And you know, he was just craving by the time they got together anonymity, and there was just no way he was going to get it in any way, shape, or form.
Now, is he still married to the woman who's has a prosthetic leg?
No.
They had a really
no.
bad divorce, and there were some bad things about him in that, right? Didn't she
I think
say?
it was more. Well, she was not. I
She
think
was not right either.
She was, at least according to his kids. That was not a good choice on his part for sure.
Really?
Yeah. There's some. It's a little bit of a salacious Google if you want to read about it. But yeah, she was. That did not end up working out for sure.
How old was Linda when she passed?
I want to say 50s. Yeah, gone too soon for sure. So
56, you're right.
Over the weekend with the girls, just happened to be on the air. We watched Maverick Top Gun. I hadn't watched it for a couple of years since it came out. It's just highly entertaining.
This is with John Hamm.
For sure.
A rare role. Well, not a rare role, but John Hamm is the bad guy.
He's not the
normally
bad guy.
either the cool.
What are you talking about?
He's a DICK the whole
No,
show.
no.
Connor, are you
He's
serious? Connor, there's
he's
not
the
one
general
person,
that's
there's
trying
not one
to.
person who watched that movie who didn't think that John Hamm played the JERK in the movie. There's not one person. You're the
Okay.
only one I've ever heard. And I even interviewed John about that. He goes, that was a little bit different role for me. Because let's face it, in most of John Hamm's role, sometimes he plays a tough guy, but a cool, likable tough guy. In this one, he's just
He's hard at first, but in the end, he believes in him.
Yes,
and
he
then
does. He does come around. He comes around, but in the beginning, he
90%
plays
of the
exactly what
movie,
he
he
said.
said,
Oh, okay, all right.
You're
and
right about everything, Connor. You always are.
John Hamm, though, talked recently about meeting Tom Cruise for the first time before he shot this movie, and how unexpected it was. And it's a fun story.
I've heard the answer. Wow.
Isn't that great?
Unbelievable. And, you know, he talked, too, about, because I asked him about that, working with him, and he just said he was just the most giving superstar and tried to help everybody. You know, because every once in a while, you know, was it when he jumped on the couch? And there was a kind of a weird little phase for him.
Yes, and he had some rather interesting views about religion, and you know, he was part of that whole kind of craziness in Hollywood.
But Hamm, who worked with him for a long time during that shoot, just gushed about how giving he was an actor and how cool he was and what the ultimate superstar. I mean, there were times he goes, I thought to myself, I can't believe I'm working with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I think it's always fun when people who are considered pretty huge stars themselves get starstruck by and who it is that they get starstruck about. And definitely a couple interviews that I've seen with John Hamm, he seems to have gotten slightly starstruck about him and about Tom Cruise, and he seems to have delivered. For sure, at meeting his expectations, exceeding his expectations.
Yeah, that's really neat when you do meet the expectations.
Yeah.
And then it's really bad when you're around somebody who you hold in awe and then you think, oh, gosh,
right.
This is what this person is really like.
Right. Yeah. For those of us who were in high school, sort of in the mid and late 80s, Top Gun was just one of those movies. And then I will say both John and I, whenever it would come up on cable in the last 30 years, we just keep watching it, right? Because there's just so much familiar stuff, and I loved I know it was never going to be most critically acclaimed in terms of the writing and all of that stuff, but it's just, to me, just a very good, enjoyable escape movie. And I really had low expectations for Top Gun Maverick for that reason. And I really enjoy it. It's kind of, to me, it's like F1, which came out. I mean, again,
that's a great comparison.
I see why the critics can say, there's some flaws in this, and it's definitely formulaic, and it's definitely you have the plot figured out before the movie even starts. But if you just want an escape movie, I think it's quite enjoyable.
Yep.
Speaking of escaping, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, everything in my house is breaking down. And I think we can all relate to that. Doesn't it seem like stuff sort of comes, if it's something is going to break, it seems to all happen at once. And especially it seems to happen around the time when we're changing seasons. And how will we test that right now? Well, we set a record yesterday in St. Louis, 87 degrees. I did not turn my air conditioner on, but I almost should have. My house was stuffy. Was your house stuffy when you came home yesterday? I mean, 87 degrees and humid in St. Louis. We start to feel it. Now it's going to be in the 30s here in the next couple of days. So we're going to go the other extreme. Definitely have to have the furnace on as well. And unfortunately, that sort of whiplash that we have this time of year weather-wise does take a toll on our heating and cooling systems in our house. And so it's a really great thing to be sort of ahead of the game about. Most of us are reactive about this. We should be a little bit more proactive. And how are we proactive? Premier Heating and Cooling, the company that does an excellent job at making sure that whatever kind of heating or cooling unit you have, their technicians have likely had some serious training on it. How do we know that? Because they have a rigorous 5-year training program, and they continually are participating in continuing education and training as well, because they want to be known as the best of the best at being certified and factory trained to make sure that they can take care of your heating and cooling system. Reach out to Premier Heating and Cooling today, premierheatingcooling.net, 636-916-1122.
And now, KTRS weather.
Meteorologist Shan Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking scattered showers and storms throughout much of the morning hours. That'll continue to die off with just some rain and cooler temperatures as we head towards the afternoon hours. We'll continue to fall back off with temperatures towards the 40s this afternoon. Then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, things are looking drier. High 57 Thursday, mostly sunny. Friday, 61. Saturday, 65. With more chances of rain as we head off into Sunday and another fall down of temperatures. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shan Scotch for the Big 550, KTRS.
The federal government's child tax credit is higher this year. IRS spokesperson Robin Capehart.
The One Big Beautiful bill increased the child tax credit from $2,000 to $2,200, and you qualify for the full amount of the child tax credit for each qualifying child if you meet all eligibility factors and your annual income is less than $200,000.
Part of the tax credit may be refundable if the amount is greater than the tax owed. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Are you ready for tax season? Don't let the tax changes passed in the Big Beautiful Bill Act catch you off guard. Hi, I'm Jeff Azufal, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group and the author of the #1 best-selling book on taxes, Keep What's Yours, and my soon-to-be-released book, Keeping What's Yours, the Strategic Tax Planning Guide for the One Big Beautiful Bill. Since 1976, Capital Advisory Group has been saving our clients money year after year. Give us a call at 636-394-5524 or or online at capitaladvisorygrp.com.
Basement with a Y. That's Basement E.
It's Basement T.
Basement E?
It's Basement T.
Oh, Basement T. Basement T. I get it. That's the basement waterproofing and foundation repair experts at Woods Basement Systems.
Right. The All Things Basement Tea experts at Woods Basement Systems will provide you a free estimate and dry up that wet basement and fix that cracked foundation. Call 800-388-9326 or go online to woodsbasementsystems.com.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Spring is in the air, my favorite time of the year. I'm buying and selling, of course, cars and motorcycles daily. I like to buy a few cars a day at this time of year, and I like to buy them directly from the owner. We carry only hand-selected vehicles, and I like to meet the people they come from. It's as much a people business as it is a car business. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, I'll even come to your house to purchase your vehicle, especially if you have more than one to sell or even an entire collection. We're always on the hunt for super clean, rare, and unique vehicles. I'll even buy everyday cars if they have low miles and are exceptionally clean. Hop on my site, mastercarsinc.com, and submit what you've got to sell. We buy, sell, and trade every single day.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit mastercarsinc.com to get more details. That's mastercarsinc.com.
Ray's Tree Service wants to remind you not to forget about your trees this winter. The spring storms will be here before we know it, and if those trees go untreated, you could have a real mess on your hands. Caring for your trees now will help promote better airflow and light penetration, which can enhance your tree, lawn, and landscape health. Call Ray's Tree Service at 314-821-2665 for a free estimate with one of our qualified arborists, or online at raystreeservice.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
I was talking about the mediocre to poor steakhouses that have gone away, Bonanza and Ponderosa. And we came up with the end, but somebody texted me this morning. The one that I think is actually okay, Golden Corral, they do have an interesting buffet, and the meat is actually not bad. They now are offering discounts on gift certificates. So if you want to buy a $50 gift certificate, somebody just emailed me this, it's now $40. You ever been to a Golden Corral?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way you could go there and think, that buffet, it's not bad.
Yeah, Sunday nights we were always looking for a buffet, the lowest price and coupon in college because there was no food in the dorms on Sunday nights, and so we got to be, there was a Shakey's Pizza place that was pretty good.
And
all
if
you can eat buffet.
Bonanza or Ponderosa, and you have a Golden Corral steak, it's like eating at Ruth's Chris or Chris's or Citizen Kane. I mean, so much better.
And the other thing I couldn't think of yesterday, the name of it, and about 50 of you texted in, thank you, was Sweet Tomatoes. That was the name of the place.
Yes. In fact, that could be a topic here, 84126, best value at all-you-can-eat buffets.
Yeah. So did you see the Time Magazine article? I don't think you were going to like it at all, that explains all the latest science on why alcohol is bad for us.
Oh, really?
You know how you're always asking every doctor?
I asked Dr. Rick if I can have like 3 drinks a week, and I think he says okay.
He says okay, 3 drinks a week. And the thing that's always funny to me that you ask, like whether we have a BJC doctor or Dr. Rick, you sneak it in every once in a while, is you're not a big drinker,
no.
At least according to your wife or to you. But I'm with you. We kind of want the option to be able to have it as a relaxing option if you're not a heavy drinker. But there's the Time Magazine article I read it earlier is very comprehensive. And what it explains in ways that I'd never understood before is that when the issue with alcohol and why it's they told us the bad news a couple of years ago that it increases 7 different kinds of cancer and all kinds of news we didn't want to hear, is that when the ethanol breaks down in our body, it creates this substance called acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde. And in that, it's very toxic to a lot of tissues in our body. So, and when the liver's kind of breaking it down and the enzymes and the pancreas and brain and other organs are processing it, things like healing in other parts of our body aren't happening. It's sort of like all the work gets done breaking it down. And then once that enzyme breaks the alcohol into that acetaldehyde, it then gets expelled into other parts of our body, and it's just not great for us, unfortunately.
Wow. So what do you think you are at drinks per week?
I would say I'm probably about exactly where you are. I really do enjoy on Friday nights. I don't drink really during the week much, but if on a Friday, unless I'm like, maybe I have a glass of wine if we have dinner plans or something, but just a nice, glass of wine on a Friday night or a martini, loudmouth soup, as my kids call it.
Loudmouth soup? I've never heard that.
You've never heard a martini called loudmouth soup?
Well, explain it.
I think it's just when people drink martinis, sometimes they get loud, and so you call it loudmouth soup.
No, I don't think I've ever had a martini except a chocolate martini, like for dessert.
Do you like? Well, yeah. I mean, some people you either like it or you don't like it. If you like a martini, and you like the taste of a little bit of, I like a slightly dirty martini. John says that should be our boat name, Slightly Dirty.
Somebody texting, by the way, this may be before you got to St. Louis, but this is a great suggestion. The Heritage House Buffet. It used to be, I think it's where Twisted Tree is on Watson Road there. That was really, really good. Yeah, that was outstanding. I'm surprised we're not getting more all-you-can-eat buffets.
Yeah, I mean, and do you remember they kind of went completely away, and including even like the salad bar at a lot of the grocery stores, which also, it can be a good place to get for lunch for sure. 100%. Yeah, it really is very tough. Paul and Linda McCartney from the 314 were a wonderful couple. Somebody else saying that they think the show on HBO is good, not great, a little slow. I'm kind of sensitive with my ADHD to a little slow.
Do they play a lot of the music or no?
No, I didn't think it was slow, but maybe I'm a little I like Paul McCartney too much to be a good judge about that for sure. And we were talking about reading books earlier, and I wanted to get to this text, Frank, because I thought it was really good. My dad is 82, crazy smart, retired engineer, doesn't read books, too many years of researching and innovating. He feels like his brain is full enough. And I have to say, I read a lot more than John, partly because I'm not reading law cases all day long every day. He kind of ready to change the channel in his brain to something else.
He wants to watch.
Yeah, he wants to watch, or he wants to, work on the car or do something that's just not reading as much. Connor, how much do you tend to read?
Every now and then I'll go. It kind of comes in bursts, I would say. Like I'll read a couple books back to back to back, and then I probably wouldn't read for the next couple months. But then, I'll read a couple more. Yeah,
and so Frank, when you read a book, that you were very excited to read the Frida McCallum book, The Maid.
Yes.
Was that what it's called?
They're all the same.
Okay.
They're all great.
Housemaid, thank you.
Yeah.
And see the movie version. I sometimes, when I love a book, I hesitate to watch the movie. Like, I really liked Project Hail Mary, the book that came out by Weir last year, who's the guy who wrote The Martian. I think it was Max Foisey who recommended it to me, and I really enjoyed the book. And there's the movie's getting a ton of hype with Ryan Gosling, and he just hosted SNL. Lots of hype, and I'm a little hesitant to watch it because I don't want it to ruin the book for me because I love the book.
But you eventually do it. You eventually watch it.
I usually do, but there's a few that I haven't.
Really? And Frida McFadden, by the way, every one of her books, and they're all great. I've read 4 of them now. They're all about the same thing. Somebody gets caught in a house and they can't leave.
Oh, really? Yeah. Crash.
Wife upstairs, Crash, Housemaid.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, when you find your lane, you got to stick to it.
Yeah, that's like John Sanford. And he actually uses Lucas Davenport as a detective in it. I've read all his stuff, too.
It's kind of the same formula for sure.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say Grisham is all the same, but it always has a law or a legal aspect.
Right,
Does your husband like reading Grisham?
He does in fits and spurts, because it's a little bit like, my clients that are emergency room doctors, they love the pit, they hate the pit, because it's sort of like, it's like watching work. John used to feel that way about like even Ally McBeal, where it's like it would get his blood pressure going, just because when you do this for a living, watching TV shows about it. But yeah, in general, he thinks Grisham is very good at what he does.
Yeah. And also a big Cardinal fan growing up in Mississippi, and a good friend of Tony La Russa.
Yeah, did you ever read he wrote I think it was a memoir called Painted Houses, and he talks a lot about baseball and that experience. I read that a number of years ago, and I thought it was very, very, just really, really well done. Speaking of well done, I think that my friends at Woods Basement Systems do a phenomenal job when it comes to everything that they do so well, which starts with, of course, solving basement waterproofing problems, solving foundation problems. I think for a homeowner, there's no worse news than the foundation of your home is sinking and moving. And because of the conditions we have here, the soil conditions we have here in Missouri, and the fact that we all have basements, right? In other parts of the country that have similar soil conditions, they just don't have basements. In places like Oklahoma or Texas, there's no basements. We do have them here, which means that over time, we can see some shifting right in the foundations of our homes, which feels tragic. But when you have somebody who is as good, the expertise, the engineering, the staying on top of the latest technology, the least invasive ways to solve these problems as Woods basement problems, they can take what for many homeowners would be the worst case scenario and turn it into something that actually adds a lot of value and a lot of usable space to your home. They can definitely take a negative and turn it into a really big positive. Reach out today. Start the conversation. woodsbasementsystems.com, 618-708-4055.
Get your reservations in now for Bishop's Post. Bishop's Post. They have the best version of your classic favorites. Located in Chesterfield, Bishop's Post is the perfect spot for that celebration.
Stay connected with the Big 550 KTRS, streaming 24/7 online at KTRS.com or on the KTRS app. Powered by JBL Financial. Stream Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Did you wake up this morning with no heat? Blankets and space heaters are a great short-term solution, but why settle for those when you can receive fast, reliable furnace repair from Viviano? We've helped thousands of customers across the Metro East stay cozy and comfortable all season long. And our expert team is ready to help you do the same this winter. For emergency service, you can count on Viviano Heating and Air at VivianoAir.com. VivianoAir.com. That's VivianoAir.com. Train, the most reliable name in heating and cooling around. It's hard to stop a
Mizzou
train.
basketball on the Big 550 KTRS is powered by Graybar. Graybar.
On the run, Mitchell.
Your Missouri Tigers tip off in the second round of the SEC tournament on Thursday against the winner of LSU and Kentucky at 11:30 a.m. Pre-game begins at 11 a.m. Catch all the action right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Presented by Graybar for all your electrical and datacom solutions.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs.
When you go and get your car washed, do you really care which car wash you go to? Yes, because not all car washes are created equal. Country Club Car Wash is the local family-owned and family-operated car wash since 1989. All these other ones that are popping up, they're all run by out-of-town hedge funds. Keep it local, keep it great. Touchless car washes, no brushes, inside and out. 5 area locations, Country Club Car Wash or cccwstl.com.
Mrs. Weiland, why don't you go ahead and read the top line for me?
I should.
Next line.
Get my retirement. What's that?
Checked, Mrs. Weiland. Get your retirement checked.
Planning retirement on your own doesn't pass the eye test. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost at Ricken Financial can help bring your retirement into focus. Call 314-207-6211. Ricken Financial, making sure your retirement vision is 2020.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
All right, welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. We're talking buffets here, by the way. One that my brother, who ran a 4-star restaurant for 40 years or 50 years, just loves, and we get a kick out of it, is the Joy Luck Chinese Buffet off Manchester Road in Brentwood. And I'm telling you, that is really good. It is so good. It's probably not great for you, and you probably don't feel great later on in the evening, but it's good stuff.
Yeah, there isn't really much. And I might not order a sweet and sour chicken at a regular when I go to a Chinese restaurant from the menu, but I'm always getting the stickiest, sweetest, most fried thing when I go through the buffet.
Yeah. Like, how can you not like orange chicken? How can you not like sesame chicken? They gotta be terrible for you, but they're so tasty.
Yes, it's just corn syrup and fried food. Those two things are a marriage made in heaven. Not according to the health experts who run our country. But
now, what about this Trotter's, the best buffet in Crestwood? Is that still with us, or is that a new place? But that sounds interesting.
Yeah, that's new. And then Sirloin Pit in Rolla, Missouri.
Yeah.
I have actually been there on our way to the lake, and it's kicking it old school in the best possible way. House of India, a favorite in our family. I would say that was our kids, especially my oldest daughter, always for birthday or special occasion, obsessed with Indian food and particularly loved that buffet.
By the way, Trotter's no longer with us. It did make Lost Tables, that great website, is former great restaurants in the area.
Yeah, it really it really is. So are you somebody who likes our wonderful Chef Bogner, who was in today from MAC during our weekly special segment earlier? His couple of things he plans to do are duck and quail, which people either absolutely love, sort of those game fowl dishes, or they stay away from them. Where are you in that
I mean, if he's cooking it, it's going to be unbelievable. Yeah, it's just something like, I'm not saying he's showing off, but you'd have to be an unbelievable chef to make those things work, and I bet they'd be spectacular,
Yeah, it's just not. Those aren't my favorite flavor profiles.
But I bet if he made it, you would think, wow,
yeah, I mean, I'm always gonna. I'm sure it would be delicious, but and not the kind of thing you can find around a lot of places in St. Louis. So I think that'll be a big attraction for people.
That's why sometimes
as well.
it's better to order seafood out, because in general, I don't think people know how to cook seafood at home as well as other stuff. And that's why if you get a chance to a Chilean sea bass, order it when you're out.
I order salmon probably 75% of the time for that exact reason. I mean, we've got a couple of recipes that are pretty good at home. You know what John has mastered, though? I got him for Christmas. I got him one of those pizza ovens, the Solo stove ones outside. He's getting better and better all the time. And
Does he cook pizza out there a lot?
He's been really working hard at it. He's got Di Gregorio's. He's done his own crusts from scratch. And then he's found one that he really likes from DiGrigorio's that is a pre-made one that we use as well. And there's a certain sauce he only gets at DiGrigorio's, which of course, grocery store on the hill for those of you who haven't been there.
I'm curious, how hot does that oven get?
700 degrees, I believe.
Oh my gosh!
So that's what makes all the difference in the world is it gets that you get like the crispy, chewy aspect because it takes a really hot oven to do it.
Yeah, and Monique is a big fan of making her own pizza, and she does a cheeseburger pizza, which is like one of the best things.
Ooh, with pickles too.
Yes, with pickles, with mustard, ketchup, with the cheese. Oh gosh, and then she obviously home makes the dough. It's one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds absolutely delicious. He, the key, and it's this kind that he got has two kinds of fuel. You can use either a propane gas, or he actually has done it wood fired a few times, where you actually cook the cedar wood in there, and that makes a big difference as well. Are you as hungry as I am right now after all this talk today?
We always seem to get to food at like 11:45.
I am absolutely starving between hearing the incredible food from Chef Bogner that he plans to do at the new MAC and our conversation about all-you-can-eat buffet. It's going to be a good lunch today for sure.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Frank and Jill Show. Mr. Carney and Miss Buck coming up next. We'll take a break and we'll be back in 22.
Out here, the bright lights show you who's ready and who's just talking. AT&T's been steady in the pocket since 1876. Take T-Mobile. They talk a big game about price locks, then get smacked for deceptive ads. 150 years of playing it straight tends to show. AT&T. When you compare, there's no comparison.
Based on RootMetrics United States Root Report 1H2025. Tested with best commercially available smartphones on 3 national mobile networks across all available network types. Your experiences may vary. RootMetrics rankings are not an endorsement of AT&T. Based on advertising challenges of wireless and home internet providers filed from 2022 to 2025.
When it comes to mortgage lenders, I know you have no shortage of options. But are you working with someone local who can truly simplify the process? I'm David Goldberg with